Good morning, Shalon Winter here. Here is our risk disclosure. As usual, trading futures is risky. You can lose all your money. Know what you're doing before you do it. So if you'd like to go ahead and pause the video, take your time, review the disclosure. And today we're going to review my trade session on Monday, June 27th. Today, let's see, this is going to be NQ. And then my own disclosure, of course, is that I am a trader using the Apex investing tools. I'm not an employee by Apex Investing. I'm just a trader. These views are my own. They are not necessarily the views of Apex Investing, even though a lot of it will align. So let's go ahead and get started. Right off the bat here, as soon as I got started, I took a trade. So let me show you what happened. As usual, I analyze the market, see what's going on. Let's look at the chart before I start trading. Let's identify what's going on. Okay, we have it's a sideways market, right? A lot of choppiness, You actually have this wall here in deviation where it broke above the wall deviation, stayed above, chopped up here, off the wall, kept kind of bouncing off this wall, finally broke through, came back up, broke through, came back up. So made a lower low down here. So I'm thinking, okay, this might be the breakout because definitely looks like it wants to break out short. Looking at, my simplicity chart and looking at everything. So since we kind of broke out, we're pulling back. Have some HD building up. It's HD, but we're not really in a trend. So even though this made a lower high and is technically a pullback, it's more of a range. So I misjudged this a little bit. My first trade of the day, it's pulling back. My thinking was, okay, I'm going to take a trade. If it gives me an LRE off this wall, maybe that was the support, could be turned resistance now. HD's building up. I'm going to take a short off this wall. Well, after I looked again and better, the wall's kind of in the middle, right? Back here, you could say it was more of a support. But now it's turned not into resistance, but more of the middle of the range. So even though this broke short, made a lower low than these last two, my pullback should have been maybe down here where I should have took a short if it gave me an LRE, which it did not. So since it pulled up higher to the wall, I should have stayed out of this one. Market was sideways, but I got in and threw up a cluster. We got the deviation. Comes up. Low volume score, *6. Knocked me out to the tick. That happens sometimes. Comes back up to the top here. So let me pause it here. Got the simplicity chart. See, it's pulling up. I got in. I mean, it actually spiked when I clicked the button. It's kind of spiked up to the wall. But let me show you here. This was not good. Simplicity's going sideways. We're not in a clear trend. So this was just a bad trade on my part. Even though down here, my reading of the market is if we broke this ZOI, it's going to run down. We're going to have a short, which it broke it a little bit, but then it pulled all the way back up here too high. And I should have stayed out of this one because it pulled back too much without running as far as I would like to have. See, if it would have ran short down below here, then pulled back up to this area, that would have been beautiful. So I did not. Now, so I'm going to fast forward a little bit here. Fast forward. Now, let me make a note. It's 8:20. Well, it's probably more like 8:24, 8:25 in the morning here. And we have news coming out at 8:30. We have core durable goods orders month over month. Okay, so we have some news coming out. Medium size news. It'll definitely have an impact on the market, most likely. So if we set up short here again and start and break under and get a short down here at the bottom, I'm hopping in. And then I'll keep a tight trail because of the news. Now with the news, one of two things can happen. It can shoot up, right? Or it can shoot down. So when simplicity is lining up with the news, unless if it's just some crazy news or something huge, a lot of times it's just going to run, okay? It'll run, then after the market reacts, it'll stop and kind of make its way back to where it was before the news came out. So I'm making a news play here and a breakout. I hardly ever trade simplicity on its own. I usually take LREs, but today I was just getting a good read that this was going to break short with the news. So it's making its way back down. Just going to fast forward a little bit here. Oop. Okay, I got in. 1 second, let me back up. Okay, it gave me a short. And I really wanted to get in under the ZOI, but with these double clusters here, I figured it might, double cluster and ZOI, it might oscillate a little bit here. But I have my stop up here where it should be whenever you're trading simplicity. But if you could see, my crosshairs were down here. I left my crosshairs here because I was holding onto my stop loss. I clicked it and I'm just hovering because I know I have news coming out soon. And this thing's either going to break and run or it's going to, oscillate or come back up to this top. So I was giving it very small amount of wiggle room. If this came above this magnet, I definitely was going to close out. But, I was even debating, I was holding my stop pretty close because I wanted to move to break even as soon as possible. So like I said, news is coming out. And if this breaks this ZOI, it's just going to shoot down. So I'm waiting. Holding on to it. Holding on to my stop loss. Preparing to be a sniper and get out of this thing if it does not go my way. Because if it doesn't go my way, it's going to be bad. It's not going to be just, a close call. I don't think. Especially because the news coming out. And so a lot of times before the news, the market, can start setting up and giving you a direction of the way that, it may go, depending on the news. So here we got a couple more minutes until the news comes out. I'm up 3-6 ticks. Still kind of oscillating there. I'm waiting for this break. I'm waiting for this breakout. There we go. There's the break. Now we have another ZOI here. So left a cluster. Like I said, I'm not giving this one room because it has news coming out. So I moved to a couple ticks profit right away. And I'm just leaving my stop there. Right now at this point, I'm up a good amount of ticks. I'm just going to go ahead and manage the trade. And I'm just going to let this thing run for a little while. Right? Whenever I take simplicity, I don't put a profit target. I just trail it with my stop. And when it hits walls or levels, I just put my stop behind areas. So now we hit, right? It pulled back up a little bit to these double clusters, came back down, hit the wall. So now it might not break this wall, but we still have, the news still hasn't hit yet. Still have a couple more minutes. So I'm pretty confident it'll bust the wall. So I kind of keep my stop up here where this pullback was, where these double clusters are. I kind of want to keep it up here, still give it room, but not too much because, right now it's up 54 ticks. Back here, it was like, let's see, where was it? Okay. Back here, right here's 30 ticks. So back here was around 20-ish ticks, which that's my normal target, right? So I want to secure my normal target, 20 ticks. So now I'm secured. I got my 20 ticks in. If I get knocked out, I get knocked out. So, but if I can give it a chance to break this wall, I would love for that to happen. So let's give it some room. Now it's busting the wall up 60, 68, 70 ticks. So now I'm keeping a tight trail on this thing. Like I said, news is going to come out. I don't want it to shoot against me. I also, you know, with trailing drawdowns, all that good stuff, you don't want to let it come back too much on you. Okay. And because of that, you're not going to catch an entire run either by doing this. So now I'm up 70 ticks, 70-ish. I think it'll come down and hit this mini magnet. So I want to put my stop behind the wall. Now I hit the mini magnet. Not sure if it's going to break. Move my stop up. And knocks me out. So hit the mini magnet, laid a paw. Knocks me out. More than likely, this thing's going to come back up and hit the wall or the COI. But I don't want to, you know, I could have left my stop way up here. But if it comes back up, knocks me out, then I'm giving back a whole lot of ticks. So I don't want to do that. I already had I got a lot of ticks on this trade. 70 something ticks, like 70 ticks on this trade. I don't want to give it back. I already gave back. It was like 89 ticks down here. You know, I already gave back about 19 ticks from where it hit and where it knocked me out. I don't want to give back anymore. So I'm out. I'm happy. As they say, most professional traders only grab about a third of the run, never the full thing. So never feel bad. This was a one and done right here. I took that loss there, but this was still, you know, if that was 70 ticks that I got on this and I lost 20 before, I'm still up 50 ticks on the day. My target is 40 ticks. So I surpassed my goal. Okay. Now I hit this. Like I said, it very well could keep going, but I don't care, which it does, because I don't want to risk giving back all this on this pullback. Okay. And it does. It keeps going all the way down to this dynamic magnet. So you look at this and say, man, I got out here. I could have grabbed another 40. No, I mean, that was, let's see, 75-ish. Man, you could have grabbed another 20 points or so. That's huge, but it's okay. It does not matter. So that was it. Pull up the simplicity chart. Okay, that's where I sold. Yeah, it was already, you know, it's going sideways right here, right? Because I was waiting for a breakout. Then it turned the corner. I got in at the bottom. So I was playing the breakout and news. And then it shot down. And then look how much further it went. So, and then let's see, here's an LRE that I would not take. Let me show you why. If I could pull it back up. So this was coming back, but then you left this mini magnet on this dynamic magnet. Settlements just under didn't make it. And then you had this long run with affected by news. Once it hits the bottom, many times it tends to start running back up to where it was. And then here on this LRE, I mean, there was nothing really this was not it. So there was really not, this would be the LRE area. There's not really anything here on the 30 tick, 10 tick, nothing really telling me this is going to bounce and come back down. Like there's just not, and then we got some clusters. It could have, but there just really wasn't anything for me there. So let's see if it, because you would need the LRE, like here would be an LRE, but you got the double clusters, all that. Nah, I'm staying out of it. And it'd be a good thing if you did, because it would have lost. Okay, and that was it. All right, and that was all for my trading day today. Hope you all had a great day. Trade well, and I'll see you next time.